Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Getting ready and setting up a little bit here, but welcome to another monthly stream for the channel. Hope everybody's doing well. I will be joined by Steve shortly when he gets off of work, but and Jamie currently is at a dance recital, so you just get me for right now. However, next week it'll be a full house. It will be all both Jamie and Steve again. Not next week, sorry, next month. And our newest member, I want you all to give a good big old shout out, hug, high five, whatever to, Sarah Elizabeth Johnson. If you've been following me over on Twitch, you most likely would have seen her there. She's been playing with me as my partner in Split Fiction, and she's going to be hosting videos starting in May. So big round of applause for her, and thank you for joining the Fat Ninja family. Let's see, other news for the channel. We got new business cards. Check it out. Look at all that. That's nice and shiny there. Yeah, very simple. This is the back. I think they look cool. They look a lot better than our old ones. Very nice card stock, thick card stock with a nice foil on the lettering. Outside of that, if you live in the state of Wisconsin, first of all, congratulations, Wisconsin, on fighting for what's right. And secondly, you might have noticed yard signs for the channel popping up all over the place. That is part of our campaign to try to reach out to the community. We're looking for up-and-coming young filmmakers, writers, artists, whatever, anybody who wants to do interviews on the channel, talk about their work, show off their work, promote their stuff, and who might also want to work with us. So if you're in the Wisconsin area, feel free to shout out to us on our various social media things. Leave a comment under this video, or hit us up on Twitter at Studios Fat, or Discord, which will be linked in the description. All that's good stuff. So we're easily found. Let's see what else is new for the channel. Currently still working on building the studio. And it's coming along. We had to wait till the weather got a little bit warmer because nobody wants to be outside and working in the cold. But it's coming along. I'm constructing a stage right now, and then it's going to be the top of a trapezoid there with green screens behind it. So we can do all sorts of cool effects behind us, whoever's hosting or doing whatever. Then we've got some ceiling mounted DSLR cameras and nice directional mics and stuff. It'll be really cool. So once it's all done, can't wait to show you guys. I mean, it's probably gonna be a few months out still, but I think it'll be cool once it's done. Let's see, what else is new? Oh, okay. Well, so last night I went out with a couple of friends and we saw the Minecraft movie. Look at this awesome popcorn bucket I got. It was wildly expensive, more than it's worth, but I love Minecraft. It's one of my top games, and so I of course had to go see the movie. Now, just off the beginning, the film is between a 5.5, 6 out of 10, somewhere around that range. It's very well animated. The soundtrack is fitting. There's a lot of classic Minecraft game songs in it. But the story is very weak. I mean, it is a kids movie, so keep that in mind. It is mainly for kids. But the story is very weak, very simplistic. The villains are not... of course there are piglins in the game, which are like an enemy type, but the main boss villain, let's say, is not an actual villain from the main Minecraft game. I don't know if it's from one of the spin-offs like Legends or Dungeons, but there's no like Wither or Ender Dragon or nothing. It's just a bigger piglin. So it was a little bit disappointing. Um, and the actors involved, the one person I expected to not like in this film was Jason Momoa. And after seeing the film, he is the only character I liked in this whole film. He just he's I guess he spoke to people my age, right? To us in our 30s, of we grew up in a time where games were still simplistic, and we've been able to witness where that's all, how far we've come. But at the same time, while we do, oh, sorry about that, my phone's going off. While we do love up and coming new games, right? The graphic intensity and new types of like game mechanics and story stuff and all that good stuff. I do find myself often missing the simplicity of those games, like Mario just running and jumping and platforming and just achieving a goal in those games. Now, often, especially with open world games, I find myself just aimlessly wandering and then getting bored after a while. Even if there's stories and quests, it's just like, yeah, go fetch this, go bring this to so and so, and just marking off boxes, checking off boxes. It just gets a little old. But anyways, back to the Minecraft. The Jason Momoa character is basically in he won some tournaments back in the day on an arcade machine, and now he's like 20 years older and nobody gives a shit, right? Because games have moved on. There's new heroes in the gaming world, from all the major league gaming and stuff like that. So he's kind of irrelevant, and he's hurting for money, and he kind of never grew up, but he never understood why that was a bad thing or whatever. But anyways, the other characters, however, the young kid, see, I don't even remember any of their names, except for Jason Momoa's character, who is called the Garbage Man. But I don't remember any of the other characters' names because they're so bland and generic that it didn't even matter that they were in the movie. It could have just been Jason Momoa and Jack Black as Steve, and it would have been fine. They didn't need to have the other characters. They served pretty much no purpose. Yeah, they tried to make the little kid a hero. But I don't know. He had no personality. It's not like the Goonies or those kids from It, chapter 1 or whatever. Like, he had zero anything, zero charisma, zero charm, zero whatever. It was a little disappointing, right? That being said, on the plus sides for the Minecraft movie, there was a very cool reference to, and if you're a long-time Minecraft gamer or watch the streaming stuff, you'll recognize the name Technoblade. And so there is a reference to him. And there's some other very Minecrafty things. For example, Steve has a creeper farm in it, which is great. And he also eventually dons a very game accurate version of the diamond armor set, it looks hilarious on him, but there are just, I don't know, there's just a little bit too many negatives. I wish they would have, because they go out of their way to do very non-Minecraft things. For example, the kid puts a bunch of stuff on the crafting table and creates a potato launcher gun, and I'm like, why do all those things, these very non-Minecraft things in the Minecraft game? Why couldn't he have figured out the recipe for creating a multi-shot enchanted crossbow or something, or built with redstone, a device that uses a dispenser to shoot out, poison potatoes or something. So at least tie it into Minecraft somehow. Instead, nope, he just invents things that are in the real world, and then brings them into the Minecraft world. And it was a little bit of a letdown. I wanted more Minecraft in my Minecraft movie, if that makes sense. But overall, like I said, the animation was very well done. And the acting was whatever. The soundtrack was pretty great. Classic. All the funniest music discs you can find in the game. They played at least a clip or two of each one. Most of the funnier scenes have been spoiled in the trailers. So if you watched all the trailers, you've pretty much seen all the bits, like with the chicken and all that stuff. However, there, like I said, some of the cameos they kept under wraps, and it was, our theater wasn't packed, but it was full, right? So whenever those things, like the Technoblade thing, when that happened, people started cheering and clapping. Those are the true fans. And overall, like I said, I'm going to give the film a 5.5, 6 out of 10, somewhere in there. Again, I only saw it the once, and I saw it last night, and that was my first impressions. Now, maybe, as we all know, when films come out onto streaming and stuff, they, even after a film is already released in theaters, sometimes the studio will continue to tweak the film, edit scenes, work on special effects, and so on and so forth, right? Endgame was famous for that. But we'll see if that improves anything when it comes to streaming. Maybe they add some more deleted scenes in there, or whatever. So we'll find out then. But so when I talked to a friend of mine after we got out of the film, he had seen it as well, and he made an interesting point. The way they animated the world and all the characters in the film, the non-human ones, right? If Mojang was serious, they could make like a mini like series or whatever for Netflix or whatever streaming service out there, and would actually be worth watching. Like just watching, not necessarily Jack Black, because this is another thing that bothered me about the movie. I like Jack Black. I love Jack Black, especially in his earlier films. This is modern day Jack Black lost his mind, Jack Black, where all he can, I mean, I know he sings, I know he's part of Tenacious D, but he sings too much in the Minecraft movie, and at moments that don't make sense to why he would be singing. Like the chicken song is fine, right? When he's advertising his lava chicken booth. But there are tons of other moments where he starts singing and it just doesn't fit the vibe of the movie, and it's just kind of bad, I don't know. But anyways, if they got somebody, if they got somebody who had charisma or whatever to be trapped in this Minecraft world, and then made it a series out of it, where it's just this kid or adult or whatever, hell, have one of the streamers from a popular Minecraft stream, actually play themselves trapped in this Minecraft world and see what they get up to. You know what I mean? It would be really cool. I mean, I'm sure it's expensive as hell to animate something like that. I don't, without Googling it, I have no idea what the budget for the Minecraft movie was, but I'm sure it wasn't small, However, Netflix is no stranger to throwing around, $10, $20 million an episode for something that really sells well. And let's be honest, a Minecraft show, whether it's on Netflix, on Amazon, or whatever, I think would do pretty gangbusters if it's animated the way this film is animated, and not just some cheap kiddie animation, you know. I mean, look at how many people still watch, you know, Let's Play Life type series. You know what I mean? On YouTube and stuff. So but which reminds me, big shout out. I've always wanted to play with these guys, but big shout out to the Hermitcraft crew. You guys are probably the best SMP out there. I really enjoy all of the people on that SMP, and you guys have really brought joy to my many hours, many days spent playing the game myself. I would watch them on my laptop while playing on my TV, and it was always a fun time, especially people like Grian and Mumbo Jumbo and Doc M77 and whatnot. But anyways, I digress. Would I recommend going to see the Minecraft movie? Sure. Go during the day when it's cheaper. Especially if you're taking the family out. If you got kids are gonna love it. The jokes are pretty much all targeted towards the let's say the between 6 and 10-year-old demographic. Most of the jokes, the few cameo hidden references are for longtime fans of the franchise. But anyways, let's see. So I'm going to talk about some upcoming games that we're going to be doing or streaming on the channel here. So with The Last of Us Season 2 premiering, I think it's April 14th. The Last of Us 2 Remastered just released on Steam on PC. So what we're actually going to be doing is Sarah is going to be playing The Last of Us 2 like the day after the episodes for the new season air, right? So like say Season 2 Episode 1 airs, then the next day we'll be playing The Last of Us 2, that portion of the game that the episode covered, right? Roughly thereabouts. And we're going to be doing commentary on both the show and the game and a comparison of both. I will just be joining her in the chat, but she's the one who's going to be actually playing. So, but we'll be streaming it together in that sense. So make sure you check those out. I think the episodes will be on like Thursdays or Thursdays or Fridays when the episodes come out, and so we'll be streaming them then like on Saturdays or Sundays or something. We'll figure it out when the actual show actually starts going, and we'll post about it in the community tab. But I'm looking forward to it. I think Last of Us 2 got way too much unnecessary hate. I'm not going to start a fight with anybody here, but we all know why. Some people try to recover their own bias by saying, oh, it was poor writing or this or that. And the truth is, while I do admit the game does have some pacing issues, right, with their structure and stuff, overall, I still think the game is definitely between an 8 or 9 out of 10. It is very well. The moment I got it, popped it in and started playing it, I was hooked. I just kept playing. I couldn't stop, until I reached the end. So I loved it. I loved all the little stories. And you know what? The apocalypse is messy. So different things will be happening different ways, and not everything is going to go the way you expect it. And the hero isn't always going to come out alive. I love the brutality that Ellie rises to because of vengeance. I love that Abby isn't your traditional, type of villain, that she isn't really a villain in the first place. And, because people forget that Joel wasn't the hero of the first game. He's in that gray area where, yes, he did rescue Ellie, but at what cost, So, I think a lot of people are just mad with coming to those realizations. But whatever, you know. I'm not going to argue with people. People are going to say some dumb stuff in the comments or whatever, and you know what? It don't matter. You know, that's my opinion. You can have your opinion. If you don't like the game, then don't play it. If you don't like the show, don't watch it, you know. That kind of thing, you know. But for those of us who are excited about it, I hope you join us as we journey through it together. Next up on our game, like upcoming games, is a game called South of Midnight. I'm kind of looking forward to this one. It looks interesting, let's put it that way. Now, Xbox hasn't had too many exclusives this year, you know. I to be honest, I think the age of exclusives, aside from like Nintendo, I think the age of exclusives is kind of done, you know. Everybody, you know, pretty much loves crossplay or the option to crossplay or whatever. You know, people are going to buy the console that they want, right? If you're a longtime Sony fan, you're going to buy a PlayStation. If you're a longtime Xbox fan, you're going to buy an Xbox, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So by making exclusives, the only, you know, people aren't going to go out of their way to spend, usually go out of their way to spend another $600 to $800 just to have that other console to play that one game that you might have. You know, that's just not going to happen anymore, you know, especially not with Nintendo's recent announcement, $90 or whatever per game. I mean, holy shit. You know, I'm all for, as games get bigger, you know, and more content and more play, you know, total hours of playtime, okay, raise the price. You know, when they raised it from $60 to $70, I was like, you know what, makes sense. They're a lot more graphically intense, so they have way more people in the studio working on the games, and the games are bigger. You know, it takes me now 100 hours to complete the game instead of, you know, 3, you know, or something, right? In some games at least, right? But so I could justify that, you know. But now then you've got like Call of Duty, you know, where it's like here's the base game for $70, which is a 2-hour experience, you know, and with like a multiplayer attachment. But if you want these guns, then you got to pay an extra $10, and if you want these clothes, you know, these cosmetics, then you got to pay another $25. But if you and this map that everybody loves, yeah, it's only available in this map pack, which is another $39.99. And you're just, after a while, you're like, why am I paying, you know, close to $200 for a game? You know what I mean? And no, it's just, it's not a sustainable model, and it's going to die out pretty quickly. Let's put it that way. But whatever, you know, that's my opinion. But anyways, sorry, I lost track of what I was talking about. So South of Midnight is exclusive for the Xbox and will also be released, I believe, on PC for Windows. It's a third-person action-adventure game that has this kind of stop-motion art style to it, which is really, really cool. You basically play in this kind of deep South American. Well, okay, I shouldn't say South American. You're in America, but in the deep South. So, if that makes sense, and it's kind of this more fantastical version of that, you know, with all mysterious creatures and all this good stuff, you know. But it is a take on on American folk tales, you know, about let's say Native Americans and other southern stuff. It does have a gothic element to it, which is kind of interesting, but for the most part, it's like think of it as an American version of Fable, right? A very highly Americanized version of Fable. But again, it's the art style that looks amazing. gameplay is third person action combat, so hack and slash and whatever else. I don't think it's going to be very strategy based like Dark Souls or anything like that, but it looks interesting. So I would definitely recommend putting this one on your radar. It comes out in a few days, actually, on April 8th. Again, on Xbox and I believe on Windows. Um, and it's normal price, I believe. I think it's only going to be the standard $59.99 or whatever. So, but make sure you add that one to your thing. I don't know if it's coming to Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, let me know. If it does come to Game Pass, it is like I said, it is an exclusive to Xbox. So, Xbox Game Studios is publishing it, and usually when that happens, the game comes to Game Pass, right? All right. Next up, we have Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the what are they called? Oh my God, starts with an S. Life is Strange. The Life is Strange games. If you're familiar with the Life is Strange games, then this is by the same studio and same writers. Basically, what's the story about here? Hold on. It's a many of the narrative. No, where's the damn story here? Well, it's a time. Okay, without reading through all this, it's a time travel story. Basically, you play the same character in like two different time periods, I believe, and it's about like a missing friend or something, and I believe it is co-op where you can play with another. Nope, it's single player. Never mind. But you do switch between these two characters, the missing person and the main character. Honestly, I can't really tell you too much about it. There's a lot of stuff here on the wiki, but I saw the trailer. Trailer looked interesting. That's why I threw it on this list. I was like, oop, that's a game that I definitely want to get. I liked the Don't Nod games, right? I like Life is Strange, and I liked the sequel. Didn't really care for. Oh, and I did like the. I should say I liked the sequel to the original game, like the expansion. I didn't really care for the sequel with the two brothers. That was whatever. And I didn't care too much for the newest one before that, with the girl with the glasses. I can't remember what the name was, but she had her own time travel stuff. But generally, I like the way Don't Nod makes their games, tells their stories and stuff. Most of the characters are very well done, if a little bit emo. But hey, you know what? I grew up in the emo times. So the game is coming out on. It's already out. No, it's not. So tape one. So I guess it's being split into two parts. So the first part came out in February 18th, but the second part comes out now in April 15th. It's called Tape 2. So Tape 2 is called Rage. So, it makes sense, right? The game's called Bloom and Rage, right? So, not much is known about Tape 2, except Kat is dying from leukemia. So, I don't know who Kat is, so I gotta play Tape 1. But, yeah, so April 15th is coming out. It is coming out for the PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X. So basically all systems, except for, doesn't say anything about the Switch, but you know what? I think the Life is Strange games did eventually come out for the Switch. Maybe it'll come to the Switch too. I don't know. Can't tell you for sure, so don't hold me to that. But definitely to the PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X. Next up on my list is Koira? This is one of those cute games. Okay, so it's spelled Koira. It's also by Don't Nod, and it's like a little platforming game with if you guys have ever played Limbo or any of those kind of games, so like little side scroller kind of adventure little games and stuff like that. It's that, except you're a little kid and a little dog. I mean, come on, and it's super cute. It's just like uh, uh very simplistic, cutesy art style and stuff. You're basically running through these very Japanese themed, like ancient Japan type of scenarios, right? With a lot of statues, a lot of the old hut style houses, bamboo forests, all that beautiful stuff. Very, very colorful, very whatever. With the exception of the actual characters themselves, they are either black or white, just plain colored. So, which is hilarious. But it is a two-player game that you can play with a buddy. Um, and you move across all these areas, solve puzzles together and stuff. Very, very, very simplistic game. Nothing too complicated. It is coming to PlayStation 5 and to Steam, and Windows. So that's it. PlayStation 5, Steam, and Windows, not Xbox. So I guess for you who own an Xbox, you're SOL. I'm sorry. But it is coming out for those. Let's see. What is the date? Oh, it's out already. Oh, okay. It's out already, and it's on sale currently on Steam for those of you who play PC. You can get it for $16. It's only 10% off, so it's not really big sale. But it is called Koira, whatever, Koira, and it looks really cute. I definitely I'll definitely be picking this one up. It is in my wish list. 100%. This one looks amazing. All right, and last but not least for the games is a game called Tempest Rising. What is this one? I forgot to. Oh, okay. So, how many of you out there are old school RTS fans? Right? I'm talking StarCraft, Warcraft, Command and Conquer. The very classic. Build base, command center, barracks, spam as many troops as you can. The old school style of winning. Yeah, so that's pretty much what Tempest Rising is. It is basically a new RTS from a studio called Slipgate, and it looks pretty much like Command and Conquer, like a remake of Command and Conquer. It's how do I say? It's set in a alternate reality. So it's science fiction in that sense where it's like an alternate reality, but it is like a mix of old like war, like like how Fallout is both future, like science fiction future, right? But it's also in the past. That's kind of like this setting, right? It's set in the uh, in the far future of whatever 2300 something, right? But it's everything. The wars are based on like World War II and the Cold War. So again, very, very Command and Conquer. It's basically the Cuban Missile Crisis was never averted. So shit hit the fan. Cold War heated up, type of shit. So, but you either play as the Global Defense Force, or you play as the Tempest Dynasty, which I'm assuming is the evil empire of the group. It is the first in this new series, so I've never heard of the studio before, Slipgate Ironworks. Let's see what they've actually have they worked on anything that I know. Slipgate Ironworks, Bombshell, Ancestors. Oh, they did the Daymare games. Okay, I've played Daymare. Also Ghost Runner. So if you guys are familiar with Ghost Runner, they worked on that. But yeah, most of these other games I don't recognize. But whatever, it doesn't matter. you know, it looks like they've been in business since 2013, so they've been working on quite a few games. So this is not their first time making a game, but it is their first RTS, as far as according to their website. You know, the game will be coming out to Windows, so PC only. Sorry for you console owners, and it will be coming out on April 24th. Again, the game is called Tempest Rising. Yeah, and it looks really cool. I don't. It says Windows, but is it on Steam? Let's find out. Yeah, pre-purchase on Steam. Here we go. It is. Ooh, it's $40, so $39.99. But again, it looks like a really big game. It looks really cool. I love those. I've recently started playing the StarCraft 2. I used to play, like, a buddy of mine back in Florida when I lived in Florida. A buddy of mine introduced me to StarCraft. StarCraft and Warcraft 2 actually before Warcraft 1. But StarCraft, I've always been a bigger sci-fi geek than anything. And I mean, especially with the Brood War expansion, that game was so cool, so badass. You know, he had that at the time, it was called the Battle Chest, so it had all the games, all the expansions in it. And I one night I just sat there at his computer and just played and just kept playing the entire game. And it was so cool, you know. And then I remember growing up, there was then rumors that they were going to make that third-person shooter game, StarCraft Ghost or whatever, which never materialized. And StarCraft pretty much died, right? World of Warcraft became a thing, and they just kind of, there was no universe of StarCraft or nothing planned. They just kind of let StarCraft die. Then, what was it, 2015, 2014, somewhere around there, when they announced StarCraft 2 finally coming out. And I was like, holy shit. But at the time, I had a laptop. My laptop couldn't run shit. It just, I could run Minecraft. That was it. It could not run StarCraft 2. At least not without severely downgrading everything. So it went on my back burner. And it's been on my back burner until literally like 3 weeks ago when I was like, you know what? I'm finally going to play this. And you know what? It's not bad. The gameplay is great. I love it. Right? I love all the new troops and stuff. I don't like that you the way you unlock things, that you can't unlock everything, that you have to, you know, be very careful how you spend your points. It's kind of a little shitty. I loved in the original one that if you just played long enough, you could unlock everything. But whatever. What I don't really care for is the way the story is structured. I don't like how they do that. It's very I mean, I guess it makes sense because there's like all the factions are fighting on all different fronts for all different reasons. You know, shit pretty much hit the fan after Kerrigan became the Broodmother. But I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the new storyline. However, there's a rumor that Netflix's animation team, you know, the ones who did, like, you know, Devil May Cry and all that good stuff, right? Bringing a lot of games to basically to anime, that they are interested in acquiring the StarCraft franchise, the StarCraft brand. Now, I would be hyped for that, like an anime series based on like at least the first StarCraft game, you know, where it follows the three factions, you know, and how they whatever, you know, interact and the humans join forces with the Protoss and all that good stuff. I'd love to see that. So I'm curious, for those of you out there who are also fans, you know, who would you want to voice some of the main characters? Like, would you want, I mean, I'm sure most of the original voice actors for the characters are probably still alive, you know? So, but would you rather have new voice actors, play the roles, or would you want to have the originals return? I'm curious. Let me know what you think in the comments. But as far as games go, yeah, that is all the games to talk about. I'm waiting on Steve here. I was hoping that he would have joined by now. He should be off work by now. Hopefully he pops in here soon. Oh, it says Bumblenuts. He's in here. Hey, unmute your mic.
Yeah, I've been sitting here for a while and nothing was happening.
Why can't I hear you?
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. Okay, now I can see you.
Can you hear me though?
Nope, I still can't hear you.
My mic's on.
Do I have you? I don't have you muted. Let me just do this real quick. Sorry, folks. I'm gonna jump out and jump back in. And then we're gonna pop this window out. Hello, hello?
Yep.
Nope, still can't hear you. What if I do
I hear me on the stream, by the way.
I should be able to hear you.
I see me.
Yeah, I have it set to headphones. What's going on? Say something.
Hi.
So clearly you can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the comments, quick, troubleshoot this for me. Tell me what's going on. I don't even hear myself when I... Maybe it's because it's popped out like this? Hold on. No, your user volume is up. All right, and back in. Hello.
Yeah. Anything?
I don't know, man. I can't hear you at all.
That's really weird.
This sucks. What's going on?
Can you hear me now?
What's happening here?
Yeah. Anything?
What is happening here? Debugging. Blah, 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 blah. Nope, that's working. Say something now. Nope. Blah, 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 blah. I can hear myself. Oops. Okay. Oh, what is going on? Sorry about this, folks. Technical difficulties. Yeah, because the Discord audio... should be coming through. Oh, now you're hitting me twice. You guys can hear me through there. Are you saying something, Steve? Yeah, I can't hear anything you're saying. I don't want to be coming through twice either. There we go. So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I just did. How about now? Still can't hear me? Damn it.
Nope. Ah. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Because I can see you, but I can't hear you. Hmm. Watching us fumble around here. This can't. Did you check your voice and video? You have the correct input device?
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you it's OBS. Because no matter what, OBS, I hate OBS. I loved OBS in the beginning, but all the newest updates are garbage. Straight up garbage. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this here. It seems to be picking you up.
Lickety.
Because on my screen, it's showing that it's picking up your audio. I just can't hear you. So, we're going to do a little workaround here. Let's see if this will work. I think it's my headphones. Hold on. OBS, what did you do? Hello?
Yep.
All right.
You hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Stupid.
good.
So OBS overrode my headphones,
That's interesting.
and it was trying to go to the speakers only, even though I had changed the sound settings on my system to be only headphones. Stupid.
Yeah, I thought it was me for a second because I got a new webcam.
No. It's OBS. Right
Okay.
before I started the stream today, there was another update, and it screwed everything up. Anyways, sorry about that, folks. Very
Yeah,
sorry. So, anyways, I did all the games, and I talked about the Minecraft movie. Where I was waiting for you to head into the movie list. You
Yeah,
ready?
I've only well, Minecraft was on there.
I
Just
literally
because
saw it last night, so that's why I talked about it already.
I know that. I was interested in seeing it. I haven't played a lot of Minecraft, so I don't have a lot to say about. I want to see Jack Black and Jason Momoa. That's basically why I wanted to see it.
Jack Black, not so great. Jason Momoa, surprisingly funny.
Okay, see, that for me is. I'll probably check it out at some point. I don't know,
But all the other characters, bland as hell.
That's what I've heard. Oh, the ones that I'm just so you know, the ones I'm pulling up. There's like 2 or 3 movies that I think I'm gonna see that I found interesting. Okay.
Yep. Hold on. Every time I bring up my,
Did you disappear? Should I be seeing you?
Yes. Why?
Okay, I don't see you on my screen. I hear you, which is more
no. You shouldn't be seeing me on Discord. You should just be seeing me.
Never mind. Okay, good.
No, every time I brought up my list here, it made you disappear on the stream, which I was like, oops.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Okay.
have you seen Sinners or read about Sinners?
That one does look interesting.
I love Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan was pretty, and Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan collab I'm all for that. So that's something I will be seeing. I don't know if I'm going to see it in theater because I haven't been to the theaters a lot lately, but I'm going to see it at some point. It looks good. The other one I'm looking forward to is Until Dawn.
No, that movie looks straight up garbage.
No. I mean, the thing is, well, the reason I'm on the fence in the first place was because of the trailer, right? Because they're just basically resetting each day. I don't know if they were going to do that approach, they should have done a series, to be honest.
Well, no, what they should have done, if the way they're shaping the story, they should have just not called it Until Dawn. They should have just called it Trapped in a Haunted House or something.
But I mean, you see in the trailer that's directly from the game, so
yeah, but the story and stuff in of the movie has nothing to do with the game.
Okay, well then, yeah, you're right. However,
they just use some aesthetics from the game, right? But otherwise, it has nothing to do with the game. So all right, I'll just break it down real quick. So the game, basically, a long time ago, group of high school kids got together, pulled a prank on the nerdy girl because she liked the jock guy, and took naked photos of her, right? She ran away into the snow, embarrassed, fell down a cliff. Her sister went looking for her, fell down the same cliff, and they died, right? They disappeared, right? And their brother was sad about it. Like a year or two later, they have a reunion at their cabin where they want to be like, all right, bygones be bygones. We're sorry that shit went that way, blah, 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 right? And but all of a sudden, there's a killer stalking them, right? However, the killer turns out it's just the brother. He's not actually killing anybody. He's just pranking them and then knocking them out with like fucking, what is that stuff called?
chloroform?
Chloroform. He's just knocking them out and then hiding them somewhere, But then all of a sudden, one of them shows up actually dead. And he's like, well, that wasn't me. I'm not actually killing you guys. I'm just fucking with you, Turns out one of the sisters survived, ate the other sister, and became a Wendigo. That's the story. That's the entire story of Until Dawn, right? So now you have to escape because there's a shitload of Wendigos that live in the mine nearby the house. You know, that's the entire story. Has nothing to do with whatever fucking Resident Evil puzzle looking bullshit that they're trying to shove into this movie, or the respawns, or any of this stuff.
Yeah, well, I think they included that because the idea of respawning
you can't respawn in the game either, which is hilarious.
No. Yeah, but the idea that you can reset and then tell the story again, which I don't mind that approach if they were going to do it, but it should have been a series. But if it's not the story, then I don't really care either.
It just shouldn't have been called Until Dawn. It would have been fine if it was a completely different, generic title or something. Then I wouldn't have a problem.
So I do like the director, David F. Sandberg. You know, like Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, Shazam, the first one. So like, maybe the direction will at least be good, but yeah, other than that, you're right. I don't care that much. And the last movie that I'm curious about, there's going to be a documentary called Cheech and Chong's last movie.
Never heard of it.
Really?
I mean, I probably have, but it's. Yeah, I've heard of so many things going on this year. Yeah, this year's big on movies.
Yeah, and I was like, which one? And again, it's because you know how the Cheech and Chong had all those like 4 or 5 stoner comedies or whatever. It was.
There's a lot more than 5.
Well, there was the basic ones. There was like Cheech and Chong's big movie or whatever, and Up in Smoke. So it seems like, and they're calling it Cheech and Chong's last movie, but it is a documentary about them. So I'm curious about that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I know Anthony would be interested in that too. He's a big fan. So none of the other films? Not. What about The Accountant 2? I liked the first one.
I never watched The Accountant.
Oh,
I know you told me to. I mean, again, it's something I'll get to, but I'm not like, it doesn't jump at me.
I like movies about hitman people, right? You know, taking out targets and all that cool stuff. I like those kind of movies, especially when the characters are a little bit more interesting. Accountant 1 was good. It was coming off of Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
So he played a much more reserved type of character, which was made a little bit lighthearted in moments by Anna Kendrick's presence, you know. Mm-hmm. And then of course, bringing in John Bernthal as his highly wired brother, you know, basically the Punisher but on cocaine. You know, it was great. And I haven't seen the sequel yet, but the sequel is coming out this year. On when is it coming out? Let me look here. I have it queued up. It's coming out on April 25th. So it's not too far from now. But from people who have seen it at South by Southwest, they said what really elevates the film this time around is John Bernthal. He is a much bigger presence in the film, and his chemistry with Ben Affleck's kind of dumbness, not dumbness, like because he's autistic, right? But his kind of like nonchalantness, I should say, right? His kind of he thinks very, I don't know a good word for that, but he thinks differently, right? So he thinks very straightforward. When you tell him, the pizza is hot, he thinks it's hot literally, whereas you might be talking about being spicy, or so on and so forth, right? He thinks so when his brother says things to him in a lot of slang, he misunderstands, and then
so he's thinking literally, like
yeah, because he's autistic, Ben Affleck's character. But anyways, but I also heard negative about the plot because it's revolving around him working for the government, which if you watch the first one, he is very not for the government. He is actually very anti-government, right? He's like Jason Bourne. He's like, I'm my own thing.
Well, that could put an interesting dynamic that he has to always butt heads then with the government.
But now he's working for them or for a woman or something. I don't know. I heard negative things about it, like she was very bland or whatever, but that J.K. Simmons is in it, but he dies like pretty much in the first 5 minutes of the movies, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah. So April 25th for The Accountant. The other big one that I would like to see is The Shrouds. I love a good David Cronenberg
That was the
film.
other one. Yeah.
And I don't know anything about this except for that it has to do with dead people, with corpses.
Okay.
Right, obviously shrouds, right, burial shrouds and stuff. So something is coming. Like I'm assuming, it's not. This isn't the first time Cronenberg has been involved in something that deals with quote unquote zombie genre. Right, he's done. What was the one with Shivers? Right, with the weird sex disease thing going on, and then there was another one. Right, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but both of those are very, let's say, zombie-esque, and from this one it sounds like it, but I mean I could be completely wrong. But what it sounds like is some people, as far as what I know from the trailer, some people a family just buried some family members, and then somebody stole those family members, right?
Okay.
But did they steal them, or did somebody steal them, or did those family members get up and leave on their own accord? So it's like a zombie mystery, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is, I find that kind of interesting. And plus, it's David Cronenberg, so the body horror is going to be up there.
It's getting good reviews so far too. So
right, he's also a lot of people underestimate that Cronenberg is also very good when it comes to being thematic, very good at emotional character storytelling, right? Like, yeah, The Fly is a body horror science gone wrong film, but it's also a romance. People forget that like 80% of that film is about a romance, including the ending where she doesn't want to blow its head off, because there's still a piece of him in there and she's still in love with him, type of thing. It's a tragedy like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
All right. Otherwise, from the Shrouds, sorry, I've got Warfare. Yeah. I do want to see Warfare. I love movies that explore soldiers and whatnot. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I love action movies with like groups of soldiers doing their thing, right? Predator and all that good stuff, right? Those are always great. But I really love these kind of stories that explore war from a soldier's perspective, because everybody always thinks of, explosions, gunfires, blam, 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 maybe some PTSD, but it's all very surface level. This film looks like it explores, taking orders that you don't always want to follow. You know what I mean? Like you've probably heard that expression from somebody at some point in another that's in the military, where they say orders are orders, right? But it's usually heightened in some movie or something like that. Like, oh, we've got to nuke the city, but what about all those people? Orders are orders, This movie is on a more personal level. Like, shoot that kid over there. It looks like he has a gun hidden under his waist, and you're like, but he's 5, and they're like, shoot the kid. That's an order. Do you shoot the kid? You know what I mean? Yes, he could just, that could be a squirt gun. That could be an actual gun. Those kind of orders, and it makes you wonder, like, what these soldiers actually deal with that. It's why I have a high respect for what they do over there. Sure, there's a lot of machismo and all that other stuff that's involved, but putting it lightly, we're putting these kind of responsibilities on the shoulders of basically kids in a lot of times, because a lot of grunts are usually between the ages of 18 and 20. They're not much older than most of us who are still trying to figure out what we want to do with life. So
I mean, you grew up on a military base or military bases, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of know you got an idea of what's going on, or
right.
You're familiar. Yeah.
But even then, I've never been in a situation where I was told to pull the trigger or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Against a possibly non-combatant type of. But anyway, the film is based on a book, and the experiences of the director Ray Mendoza, and the script is written by Alex Garland, so it's definitely going to be heavily politically themed. Now, Alex Garland, hit or miss for me. Love Annihilation, did not like Civil War. I thought Civil War had potential to say a lot and just missed it. Just didn't reach.
It wasn't a bad film, but it was I think it's his weakest film just in general.
Right. It just didn't reach for it. He should have just went for the full fuck you. Instead, he went for the version, so I'm hoping that this one goes for the full range of emotions.
Because he's got a collaborator with him.
Right. The director it's literally about the director's life, so.
Yeah.
But it looks gorgeously shot, and the film will be coming to theaters on April 11th. There's April 11th in the United States, and if you're in Europe, April 18th.
18th, yeah. Yeah, it's getting really good reviews too. So,
next up is The Ritual, and the only reason this is on my radar is because Al Pacino is in it as a priest.
Okay.
Al Pacino was one of the greatest actors when I was a kid, and then he did movies like Jack and Jill, and I don't know what the fuck happened to him.
The thing is, he actually did a good job in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Material. So,
but he buried himself. It's like Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson is probably one of the greatest living actors of our entire generation, or whatever, right? But sometimes you have to question the films that he puts himself into. And Al Pacino, in his later life, has pulled a Nicolas Cage so hard that you go, why are you are an actor capable of such high caliber performances. Why are you putting yourself into these D-list films?
Well, it's because, for Samuel Jackson said, I do movies because I think they look fun, right? And I remember Al Pacino talking about Jack and Jill. He said he enjoyed making the movie, though, with the people that he was with.
Well, okay, put it this way. No matter how shitty an Adam Sandler movie is, everybody always says they have a blast making the movies with him, because Adam Sandler is supposedly like the nicest guy in Hollywood, along with Keanu Reeves and so on and so forth, So he's apparently like a really great guy to be around, because he's always very light and.
So the experience is going to be good for the people filming. Plus, you get good paychecks with a Sandler film. So,
and that's fine if it was once in a while that he would do that. But Al Pacino hasn't really been in a big film in a decade.
Yeah.
And he's in the age now where he could be playing some like really cool like political characters, or some really cool, like villains or something, like, I don't know. I would love to see him. Maybe he just can't. Maybe, he has got to be in his 70s now, 80s. But because, the opposite of Al Pacino was always Robert De Niro, right? And Robert De Niro is doing like Oscar-worthy performances still. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a shame that we don't see Al Pacino more.
I wonder why. He's 84, he's 84, by the way.
Holy shit! Yeah.
But I'd be curious. Probably something I would ask him, like, why do you choose the movies you do recently, like of recent? I don't know.
Is it a simple paycheck, and you're just like, yeah, by the end, I do my thing, I'm done, and then I get a nice paycheck, and I can go back to my life. Maybe that's what it is, right? But in The Ritual, he plays Father Theophilus Reisinger, and the film is about two priests struggling with their faith, and one of them, the other priest, Father Joseph Steiger, he's struggling with something from his past, and they both have to work together to do an exorcism, right? So it's basically The Exorcist, right? Because if you think about it, Father Karras was dealing with, his shit in the past and losing faith, while the other one was, was like, Max von Sydow was like, no, I'll show you, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm curious. I want to see it. I like these kind of films, if they're done well. exorcism movies are usually by the numbers, you know.
Yeah, they are.
But if the characters are written well, then it's a good watch. I feel like when I can't remember what his name was, but the guy who did Exorcist Believer that just came out like 2-3 years ago, whatever, right?
David Gordon Green or whatever.
Yeah. The reason I think that film flopped is because they focus so much on the jump scares and the special effects and not enough on the characters involved in the film.
And they had a really interesting idea too, and that's why I was disappointed because the split exorcism with
Right.
two girls or whatever that they had something there, but they blew it.
Right. Yeah, totally. And that's the Exorcist, like the reason the original Exorcist is so great is because, I mean, to be honest, Regan is only on screen, like at least in possession form, for like what, a total of like 30 minutes towards the end of the film. Most of the film is always is about Karras and what he's dealing with in his own life, and that's what made it so great. People could relate. But anyways, this film comes out. Well, it got pushed back to June 6th, so it's not coming out this month. But
it was supposed to come out on April 18th, but they moved it to June 6th.
Right.
So
yeah, so definitely go put this one on your radar if you're into exorcism movies. Otherwise, 100% this movie is going to release on streaming like Shudder or something. Let's see what's next up. Sneaks. I just saw the preview for this yesterday at the Minecraft movie. It is a movie about talking sneakers.
Oh boy!
And it is filled with every black actor I can think of. Is playing a role in this movie.
Martin Lawrence.
But the plot is basically Despicable Me, except about stealing sneakers.
Yeah, I think. Wait, I wonder. I think this director did. Hold on, let me look up for a second.
But it looks funny-ish. I feel like there was a joke once about Stephen King, where he comes up with his ideas. Oh, this lamp is now haunted. Oh, this chair is now haunted. And I feel like animated movies are doing the same thing now. It's like now shoes are alive, and the next movie, my keyboard is going to come to life and go on an adventure, or my empty water bottle, or like they're running out of ideas. They're trying to capitalize on that Toy Story magic, and it doesn't always work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to give it credit to Toy Story. They made a spork, a character, and it worked. But very, very few other animation studios have been able to pull off inanimate objects coming to life. Yeah,
they don't have that Pixar creativity. That's why.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, look at Anthony Mackie, Martin Lawrence, Chloe Bailey, Lawrence Fishburne, Sway. Like, there's just Quavo.
I love the fact that Roddy Ricch is in here. If you guys know who he is, that is fucking awesome.
Macy Gray, Keith David.
Yeah, Keith David. Oh my God, he makes the corniest joke in the commercial. He goes, shoes don't talk, we converse," and he's like a pair of Chuck Taylors. And I'm just like, oh no. I'm like, oh no, they pulled Keith David into this. But yeah. So this movie's, it's gonna definitely be a kids friendly movie. So if you've got kids, definitely take your kids to see this. It's a crisp 90 minutes, so it's only an hour and a half out of your day, and the film comes out on April 18th. Moving on to, this one I've been hearing a lot about because of the commercials. Drop. Now, I don't own an iPhone, so I've never used AirDrop.
Oh, yeah.
So you might have to. So somebody might have to explain. I know what AirDrop is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fucking boomer, But I just don't use it. So, I know that there was a big deal. What was it? Bono, right? Didn't he? U2. They airdropped their album onto everybody's phone or something. There was a controversy for that. I don't know. Whatever. But point is, I thought you had to like I thought you could, like it was like private, that you couldn't just drop to anybody who wasn't open to receiving stuff.
I wonder if you can hack it or something.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure how that works. So, but basically, she gets airdropped some stuff. If you've seen the movie Red Eye or any of those other types of movies where somebody's on the plane and then they're being, we're gonna kill your kid or kill you or blow up the whole plane if you don't do what we say, and then they've got to do a bunch of crazy shit and everybody thinks that they're the bad guy, but then it turns out, one of those type of things, right? That's pretty much what this movie looks like. So it's not nothing really original, just a new way of doing it, right? Which is the drop thing.
Yeah.
If you saw this year's, what was that movie? The baggage checker guy.
Oh yeah.
Die Hard Die Hard in an airport base, or Die Hard the airport thing, whatever. It's basically that, they get mysterious phone call. There's somebody tricking them into doing something. That's what this movie looks like to me. I'm going to wait for this one for streaming. It doesn't look, the actors involved in it don't really stand out to me, and
I probably will. I'm just looking because I noticed it was directed by Christopher Landon, and he did like Freaky and Happy Death Day, and then recently Hard Eyes. So he's got a pretty solid, filmography going.
True, but if he does something like if the trailers are just generic on purpose so that it doesn't give away some sort of crazy twist, great. But if the film turns out to be just as generic as the trailers show to be, then I'm just gonna wait for this one. For either way, I think I'm gonna wait for this one on streaming. It just does not speak to me. But for those of you who do love this kind of stuff, this film comes out really soon, next week, in fact, on April 11th. So that April 11th, make sure you go see it, I guess, but otherwise, I'm sure, Amazon Prime pretty much a few weeks later. Let's see, The Amateur. I'm going to skip The Amateur unless you want to say something about it. This movie just looks bad.
No. Yeah, I mean, I like Rami Malek, and that's about it. You know what I mean?
Me too.
So, who was there? Someone else in there that was?
Well, there's a lot of good actors. There's Rachel Brosnahan, Julianne Nicholson, Jack Nicholson's daughter. John Bernthal's in it. Holt McCallany, who we were talking about a couple of days ago as on our Dreamcast for Marvel. Lawrence Fishburne is in it and stuff. But this movie is written and directed by Rami Malek, and he's good in small doses, but his acting style is a little. He's not an action star.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm. Wait, is it? It's based on something. Hold on.
It's based on a book, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. The Amateur.
1981 novel, by Robert Little.
Yeah, Robert Little. Okay.
But it's another one of those, kid. His parents get murdered and they turned out that they were spies, and so now the kid grows up and he finds out about this, and now he wants to become a spy so he can get revenge. And by the end of the film, he's fucking Neo from the Matrix. It's if you're into those kind of movies, great, check it out on April 11th. But otherwise, this is definitely not the film that I want to see. Then we got Freaky Tales. The only reason I want to see this is because I absolutely love Pedro Pascal. Ben Mendelsohn is also great, and so is Angus Cloud, of AC/DC fame, right? But this movie looks terrible. I'm just gonna say it like that. It's a very low budget. I wouldn't even call this B-rated. This is a D-list type of film. However,
it looks like it's a throwback.
Yeah, that's what. However, it has a 70% with critics, which is kind of hilarious. So this is like a low-budget movie that's just charming its way through critics' hearts. So that gives me I'm kind of like, okay, it's like I don't know if you remember this movie. This came out like a decade ago or more. Hobo with a Shotgun with Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
It was a super low budget film, but it swept the critics. You know, they were like, I fucking this is classic Hollywood. This is like takes me back to the 80s. You know, and it was a really funny film, and it was really bloody, and it was really cool. You know, so maybe that's what this movie will be. But it's called Freaky Tales, and it is out April 4th, so it came out yesterday. So
yeah, I noticed it premiered at Sundance earlier this year.
Oh yeah. So, but if you want to check this out, it came out it came out yesterday, April 4th. And I don't think it's wide release. I think it's select theaters only. So you may or may not be able to see it, but otherwise, put it on your list, on your queue.
Yeah, it's also Lionsgate, and I don't know, they take a few months to get their movies even streaming on somewhere.
That's true, unless it's a big hit.
Yeah.
Then we've got Hell of a Summer. You know anything about this one?
This one I actually not have heard of at all. Hell of a Summer.
It is a classic camp slasher flick.
Oh, this one. Yeah, never mind.
And it's directed by fucking Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah,
the Stranger Things kid. Yeah.
All right, I'm curious.
That's the only reason I was like, okay, I have to see what this kid can do.
It just came out.
I love that. I love him in Stranger Things, and of course, Chapter 1, and stuff. But that kid is pretentious as fuck.
I've never actually heard any interviews with him. So,
oh my god, he is so full of himself. He's the biggest star from Stranger Things, and I'm like, I would beg to differ. I would say that Millie Bobby Brown is actually the bigger star, but he just acts like his shit don't stink, and it's like,
being a child actor, I guess, might do that. I don't know.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of a reality check. But, however, directing debut, maybe he's got it. Maybe he really, can live up to his own reputation. So, I do want to see it, because I've seen other things that he's been in. Like, do you remember The Turning?
Turning, that sounds familiar. Is that the
it came out 2020, 2019, somewhere around there. It was basically another remake of The Turning of the Shrew. It was god awful. It was god awful, and he was god awful in it.
Yeah, I remember that. It was very bland.
Yeah. So and Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters whatever, Frozen Empire or whatever. He's also very blah in those movies. So whatever. We'll see. He needs like an ensemble cast to raise him up.
That's true.
But as far as movies coming out this month, that's the last one. Oh, I didn't even look what date it came out. I forgot. I closed it already.
Today or yesterday?
Oh, it came out yesterday. Okay, well, there you go, folks. April 4th. But the last film that I want to talk about, and this movie just got pushed back big time all the way till next year, but I've been making jokes about it constantly for the last week. The Resurrection of Christ, I'm sorry. And, because when it was first announced, it was just called Passion of the Christ 2. And so, of course, can't resist. Got to make your own subtitle for it. So, Passion of the Christ 2, the Christening. Passion of the. And I'm sorry if you guys are anybody watching is like a hardcore, Christian, religious or whatever. I'm not. So, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but I'm probably gonna. And I get that there is more to the story. After he's crucified, he gets buried in the cave, and then he comes back after 7 days or whatever. But didn't we actually see that in the first film?
You know what? I don't remember, to be perfectly honest.
I'm pretty sure when the first film ended, and then the credits rolled, and then after the credits finished, there was a scene of the rock sliding and the cave opening, and Jesus
So leaving. We're gonna get after that.
Yeah, well, I've read the Bible like a long time ago. What the fuck does Jesus do after that? Does he just hang out, party with his whores?
Yeah, sure.
He
I don't
throws the
remember
biggest party in Babylon.
I'm a pretty bad Catholic because the Passion.
Does Jesus
Jesus.
become Scarface? He
Yeah, we'll
ushers
go
in the
with that.
cocaine era of the 80s.
It's
I mean,
Hollywood after all.
well, that's why I'm saying, like, what they told his whole story in one film. What is there to make a sequel of?
Revenge.
Yeah, right. Does he go on a? Is he the like the real like? Is Mel Gibson gonna like go so far off the handle where he's like the Roman Empire didn't collapse because the people revolted. Jesus brought down the brimstone. Like just Jesus going on a rampage with machine guns and shit, just shooting all the Romans. Like
According
what?
to Google, in the 40 days after he went and appeared and just taught. So he's going to be a prophet, a dead prophet going around doing stuff.
Honestly,
Okay.
if I was alive back then, that shit would have freaked. I mean, hell, that would have freaked me out if it was happening now. A zombie?
Yeah.
Like a zombie trying to. No, don't. You can't. I would have shot him. Jesus or no. You know what I mean? But like, bro, no, you can't. No.
Yep.
So
Just come back again.
yeah, I just thought that was. I thought that was funny that that they were making another one because I mean, it was already a stretch when Ridley Scott made Gladiator 2, and I'm like, didn't they say everything they needed to say with the first one? Turns out I was right because everything they said in the second one they already said in the first one. So with Passion of the Christ and now part 2 or whatever, I'm pretty sure what else is there to say,
Yeah.
And it's not like it's gonna really be heard anyways in America because it's apparently falling on deaf ears. People pick and choose what they want to use from the Bible. So
Oh, yeah.
I already talked, but anyways, so moving on. I already talked about The Last of Us season 2 before, but are you a big fan of Andor?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to talk about season 2?
And I'm excited about it.
I watched it once the first season, but I didn't really. It was good show, but it was I'm so burned out on Star Wars that I just
I get that, but like it's so much more grounded because you're seeing like the inner workings, like a more what's the word I'm looking for? You get to see some of the actual politics too of it, not just this rebellion and shooting. So and it's very personal as well. So that's why people. Well, now it's really topical. So yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, season 2 looks a lot more action packed from at least from the trailers.
It makes sense how they're building into that
because it's a prequel to Rogue One, right?
Yep. And it was also Andor. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking it was the guy who did the Bourne Identity movies that like wrote and directed it or something.
Well, I can't. Paul Greengrass.
No. He did do 2 and 3. Tony Gilroy. He at least wrote one of them, maybe. Tony Gilroy. He wrote the screenplays for the Bourne Identity and Bourne Supremacy. Okay, so I was right about that. So the writer of that is, and it's interesting because I think that's the only Star Wars project he's on at all or done. Okay. But it fits. Yeah.
Well, when does it come out? When does the season 2? I know it's this month.
It's I want to say the 13th. Don't quote me on that just yet. Andor season 2. It should be in my notes.
Well, Last of Us season 2 is the 14th.
Maybe I'm thinking of The Last of Us. Andor season 2, April 22nd. So we'll have The Last of Us and then Andor. There's a lot of shows coming out this month.
I'll tell you what, if you want to do reviews for Andor, go for it. I'm already doing the reviews for Last of Us.
and I just started Jurassic World Chaos Theory season 3, the animated show.
Ooh, there's a season 3?
Yeah, it just dropped. I was super stoked about it. It dropped Thursday. Yeah, I know that you caught up on. I think you're caught up on all that, but where they're getting into I can see that the threads building, that they're connecting it to Jurassic World Dominion and bridging some gaps. So I'm super
It's
excited.
sad that they needed a kids cartoon show to fix a lot of the plot holes in the major movies.
Yeah. I mean, like the funny. Well, I mean, there weren't too many in some of them, but then people just have millions of questions, right? So, and the Jurassic World Dominion had an extended cut that answered more too, which was actually better than the theatrical one. But yeah, there's so much going on in that world and universe that to have these stories is actually really cool. I just hope some of these characters show up in live action at some point.
What's the girl who's now missing an arm?
Yeah, what's her name? She was originally voiced by Jenna Ortega, but I can't remember what her name is.
I liked her, and I liked the little the farmer girl who
Yeah.
was originally a spy, and then
See, those are they're all interesting enough where they could show up. I was kind of hoping Jurassic World Dominion would have at least some of them, but they pretty much stuck to the Jurassic World trilogy and then the original movie, right?
Yeah.
I actually think they should have made a TV series out of the Dominion and just put characters from every single sequel in there. But that's
the one thing I want out of any of the Jurassic movies coming out or whatever, you know, I finally want a world overrun by dinosaurs, and I just want to see like a regular family in a neighborhood, like that family in was it The Lost World, where the kid's like, Mom, there's a dinosaur outside, you know, and it eats their dog. I want to see a family like that just go, holy shit, pack up, and then just watch them trying to like escape out of a city overrun by dinosaurs. That movie right there would be perfect for me. You know. Instead of all these superhero characters, you know, with their martial arts and gadgets, and I don't want all that. Just give me a regular ass family trying to survive some dinosaurs, because that's what the best part about the original Jurassic Park was. Tim and Lex and Alan, none of them had any super anything. You know what I mean? No, they were just fucking trying to survive, you know. But every movie after that, they had gadgets and guns and this and that, and they were highly trained ex-mercenaries, and I don't care.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do wish, because, I mean, I love, like I said, I love when the T-Rex is in the city in the Lost World.
Rolling that giant gas station ball.
Yeah, and even in Jurassic World Dominion, there was one of the scenes that was cut out. There was a T-Rex that went through a drive-in. And people were running around. I'm like, this is what we were looking for. This is more what we wanted.
Yeah, not that weird transporting whatever. I didn't care for any of that.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So Jurassic World Chaos Theory.
So, yeah, all right, well, I'll definitely check that one out. All right, well, for the final part of our segment, we finished pretty much our reviews here. Now we move on to the Dreamcast. Now, I should have... Both Steve and I have talked about this before doing this live stream. Personally, I don't think they should be redoing Harry Potter. It still holds up. They should have finished... they should have finished the whatchamacallit, the universe with the other films, the expanded films.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter itself doesn't really need to be remade, at least not yet. Like, wait another 20 years, so make it on the 40th anniversary or something, then remake it or something. But of course, you know, Warner Brothers, money, right? J.K. Rowling is like, I'm losing money because I'm, you know, transphobic, so she's got to push it. So we put together a character list of all the characters from Harry Potter. Now we do know some of the people who got cast, like what's his face from Third Rock from the Sun is Dumbledore, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
who's Snape? What's his name?
I don't know how to say his name. Hang on.
I know a lot of people are mad about it, but it's so stupid.
I know. I'm fine with that. What was I going to say? But I heard Nick Frost was going to play Hagrid, and I can see that.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot more comedic version of Hagrid.
Which, well, I don't even know who else I would put. Like, even when I was thinking about these lists, you're like, they did such a good job.
Yeah, I was going to say, they nailed the casting the first time around. I would pretty much put the same people in.
Yeah, right?
You know,
I was thinking about that too. It's like, man, I would just keep like I wouldn't I want to see Patrick Stewart play someone in there. Like I was thinking he'd probably be a good Dumbledore, but I don't know if the hair like the him with long hair, I just can't
Patrick
see.
Stewart can be Nicholas Flamel.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
old as fuck.
sure, you could do that. Um, what else did I have? I was having
You
trouble
know,
with the kids.
if he was younger, Ian McKellen as Voldemort would have been cool.
Yeah, like some of the people I'm like, God, who's young enough to, or even the kids. Some of the kids I was thinking about, I realized some of them aged out. Like the
Well, the kids are definitely going to be brand new, never heard
yeah,
of before, which is fine. You know, I mean
yeah,
that
I
you
don't
know
mind that at
if they
all.
yeah, but as far as the adults go, I don't. I don't. I, everybody is already already in the show.
You actually think of any? I mean, the only one. Hold on, I had where did I put that?
Well, for characters that weren't in the film, see if for
Should have
instead
done
of
that.
Nick Frost as Hagrid, I would have cast him as Peeves, the ghost,
That would be fun.
because that would have been hilarious, right? And then make like what's his face, Simon Pegg as one of the other ghosts,
Yeah,
a more serious one, and let them do their thing, their buddy duo thing as the ghosts tormenting the kids. I thought that because they didn't include Peeves in the original movies,
no. I mean, they had him. Oh wait, no. Am I thinking of? Wasn't John Cleese him? He was just in it briefly,
No,
though.
he was nearly headless.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Peeves wasn't included at all. Yeah, yes, but Nick Frost, that would be funny.
Right, because he could
Uh,
have done his little jokes and his pranks and stuff, and it would have totally been up to up Nick Frost's alley. You know, um, I don't know how many characters weren't included. I mean, I know there's a bunch of Weasleys that didn't get included
meant
because they pretty much
like
only focused on the
the twins
twins,
and
Ginny and Ron. Right, I know he had his older brother. You saw him
yeah,
in like 2 movies. But then there was other Weasleys beyond
yeah,
that.
like Charlie and I don't know. Some of them may have been shown, but it wouldn't have been
Right. They were
known at
only in there
all.
for moments, right? And the
Yeah,
same with the Black family, right? We only see Sirius Black. We don't see Regulus or any of the other characters, that get mentioned in the book, mostly because most of them are flashbacks in the books
yeah,
anyways, you know. Um so I have no idea, pretty much any gothic looking hell, Regulus Black, cast Keanu Reeves. There you go. Since they want to cast a bunch, I mean, pretty much so far, as far as other fan castings that I've seen, everybody's picking American actors.
yeah.
And
Which
I don't want to see a Harry Potter with a bunch of American actors doing shitty fucking British accents.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
there's only like I'm fine, I guess, with John Lithgow, but like they have to do that sparingly because so far, Hagrid and Snape were cast, but they were British actors, so that's fine. Um, I want,
There you go. Patrick Stewart as Dumbledore and Ian McKellen as Voldemort. I could have seen
yeah.
it. Or even reverse them. Since Voldemort is bald, make him Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Dumbledore.
Well, I
But then
did
again,
think about this.
I think Ian McKellen was up for Dumbledore way back in the day, and then he got
Yeah,
Gandalf
and,
instead, and so
which is why I'm like, as much as I would love to see him as Dumbledore, it's a little too close, you know.
right.
Yeah. Um, I actually, well, this would be also the other exception. I was thinking Meryl Streep as McGonagall should be one of the, like I said, American exceptions to the casting because
What
Meryl
about
Streep can.
what about Glenn Close?
Yeah. Would
Isn't
would you think she could
Glenn
be
Close
McGonagall?
actually does have a British accent, doesn't she?
Uh, that I don't know.
Hmm.
Let me find out.
I thought she had ties to
I mean, she
to
might. Since she's an
UK.
American actress, though.
I'll have to ask Sarah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, otherwise, and then the Dursleys, they were so perfect. I don't.
yeah,
you can't.
Yeah.
Who do you cast as these roles that can make their own impact? So like But then again, you know what? I said the same thing when Star Trek 2009 came out. I
Yeah.
was like, how do you replace these iconic people?
I
And
mean,
you know what?
yeah,
They did. They
they
did
did.
a pretty good job. I mean, granted, the differences that you saw with the characters, they were like, well, this is an alternate reality, so they grew up differently. They had
Yeah.
different life experiences, which changed them. So that's why their personalities are different. Okay, cool. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So it worked perfectly. But this isn't like an alternate reality. This is just
No.
a complete remake, So it's like, I don't know. I just like this is gonna be a really, really short, poor Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I just
The only person that I thought, well, like I said, Meryl Streep for McGonagall, I could see, but everyone else, I'm like, Robbie Coltrane is Hagrid. I can't.
right.
And I was even looking at other people's, and they were again doing like all American ones, and I'm like, these don't work.
No, right. Nobody can become as hated as the woman playing Dolores Umbridge. She
Right?
just nailed it. She made you hate that character so well. It just worked. And I'm sorry, but like, even if you got what is Kylo? What's his name? Kylo Ren.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. Even if you cast him as Severus Snape, he will not be. Oh my God! Why can't I think of his name either? Hans Gruber.
Oh God, no.
Alan Rickman. Yeah,
Yeah.
he will not be Alan Rickman. He may look the part, but what people are thinking, he'll play it just like that. No, he won't.
No, and you wouldn't want him to anyway, though, because then you're just like, you're. We don't want actors to play the actors of the characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
We want them to be their own iteration while still keeping to the character in the books.
Right. Which is why I'm whether or not the character is supposed to be quote unquote black in the books or not, at least it's someone different. It's and if you don't like it, you still have the original films.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because most of the fans who are fan casting it aren't really fans of the books anyways. They're fans of the movies, and they just want to see it up to with whatever. They want more Harry Potter, which is fine. I feel that. I was the same way. I watched the same 3 live action Ninja Turtles movies and go, man, I wish there was 6 more of these things. You know what I mean? With their little rubber suits and shit. But unfortunately, there's not. And Warner Brothers kind of fumbled the ball with their Fantastic Beasts thing. But on the other hand, Hogwarts Legacy proved that there was still fuel in the wizarding world. So it's not like they couldn't have written a completely new story that wasn't based off of J.K. Rowling's work, that just used her world and made some extra movies, follow a new wizard, doing new wizard stuff, or that, like that play, I forgot what it's called, but the one with Harry Potter's kid, you know what I mean? Make some new, make some new stories up or something like that. And that's fine, but I don't know how the rights all work with WB, and I'm sure J.K. Rowling is holding on to those with an iron.
Yeah, she's probably not letting anybody write anything for it, which is too bad.
Well, whatever. But I literally do not have anybody for any of these characters because I sat down and I Googled all sorts of actors and watched some of their best scenes and stuff, and I'm like,
you did way more than I was. I didn't research that hard, but I was like, I started to, and I'm like, who can play this better? And that was not easy.
I feel like Jamie would have had more to say about this because Jamie's a big fan of Harry Potter and stuff like that.
I would love to hear what she had to say. Actually, even in the comments or the viewers, whatever, sound off on that because we're just looking. I know that I want to actually. I would cast. I was looking to Doctor Who. I would cast. I'm gonna butcher his name, but the new Doctor Nchuti or Nakuti.
Shooty.
I think it's
Shooty
Nchuti.
Gatwa.
Okay, if I said that wrong, I'm very sorry. But I almost felt like he
It
could be
sounds like a machine
Luther.
gun every time I say it.
Yeah.
Shooty Gatwa. It's just so cool.
Shooty
It's a cool ass name, dude.
Oh, Nchuti Gatwa. Yeah, he could be. He could be like Lupin because he can play that.
Yeah.
That serious.
Or even
and
like David. I know David Tennant was actually in the original Harry Potter, you know, but you could recast him as Lucius Malfoy.
Ooh, see that would be interesting. I would love to see his interpretation of that.
Because I love the way he played the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. So he can be an evil dickbag, and as Lucius Malfoy, I mean that's pretty much what Malfoy is, right? Is a kind of a big old dickbag. So I could see that, you know. How about Sydney Sweeney as Nymphadora Tonks?
That would be interesting.
She's just cute. I mean, she doesn't have to do much. She just has to stand there and look cute with her little duck bill, and colored hair. We've already had 4 versions of Grindelwald.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Because people forget that Grindelwald did appear in the original Harry Potter movies, and then you had Colin Farrell, and then you had Johnny Depp, and then you had Mads Mikkelsen. So there are 4 versions of Grindelwald already, you know.
So yeah, he would be too hard to figure out.
Alistair Moody, I don't know. Mad Eye Moody, I don't know. Who's a mean British guy, you know what I mean? Like Ricky Gervais.
Actually, you're on to something there.
Just Harry, you're a twat. Oh boy, I could just see that, you know. Jesus, you're a fucking stupid kid, you know. Like, like that's all you'd get from Ricky, you know. I don't know, but I love Ricky Gervais, man. I'm hoping that there's. I know they pretty much concluded that show. What was it called?
Afterlife? No.
Afterlife, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show.
But
too.
it was especially season 1 was so touching but funny at the same time. You know, people underestimate. We were Sarah and I were talking about him on our stream on Thursday. You know, about the Oscars when he hosted the Oscars, and he is by far my favorite host of the Oscars because he just did not give a shit. Like he said, all you people are here are here because of the same reasons that I'm here. You know, let's just be honest. And you want to pretend like you're ordained by God or something like that, but in reality, you know, some of you do some fucked up shit, you know, and. But yeah, however, on our next month, I am looking forward to that one. That's the DC Dreamcast. So
that's gonna be. You know way more about it than I.
Well,
I mean,
I know the certain ones that have been obviously, we already have David Cornsweet as Superman and the certain other actors in certain other roles. However,
way more DC stuff than I have read it. So sometimes my casting would be based on who I've seen play, you know, in the movie, you know.
Right. Well, the characters I chose for the list are all the characters that they mentioned will be appearing in live action films. So,
okay.
Except for like minor characters. Like
I didn't actually look at it.
As much as I care about Commissioner Gordon, I really, at this point, I don't care.
Did you? I didn't look at the list. Was Booster Gold on there?
Yes, Booster. See, now that's who I would have cast Nathan Fillion for, not as Green Lantern. You know, Nathan. But anyways, we'll save that one for next month. You know, before we start getting into that, is there anything you want to say? We got about 10 more minutes left here.
Oh, actually, I'm only going to say it because about the Harry Potter Dreamcast. Comment on that. I actually genuinely want to see what people have to say about that, and especially if you're familiar with all those out there familiar with the books, and also we'll see what Jamie has to say in the group chat because I'm curious.
Yeah, I'd like to see what she says. Maybe she can comment too.
Yeah.
But
I might actually ask around at work because, well,
yeah,
we're all Harry.
you work. Yeah, let's say you work in a library. There you go. Advertise your library for the people in the Wisconsin.
But do I want them to come in and bother us?
Yeah, so that you can give them business cards.
I work. I'm sure that's perfectly legal. I work at the Brown Deer Public Library, so if you're in the area, check it out or check out the library. It's pretty awesome. 3-story building, very nice.
You guys got any events coming up?
Events? What do we have next? I feel like there's an Easter event coming up soon. Oh, actually, if you were into video games, we have one of the largest collections in the county. So,
oh, you guys can still rent video games.
Video games, yes. And it was something that I pitched and got going too. I was pretty happy about that.
Get them now before the library can't afford them anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, I brought this up earlier, but I was kind of going on a mini rant about Nintendo Switch, like $90 a game and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I knew that was going to happen. They said once the tariffs and if you look at other video games coming out, like not just Nintendo's, they're bumping those up. They're going to be $90, $100 games.
Okay, fine for physical copies. But why are the digital copies going up to that?
Apparently, the tariff affects something with that too.
I think that's a bunch of
remember hearing. That's what I heard. Now they could just be making an excuse because companies do that. But the good thing is they postponed they delayed the release of Switch to, hoping that the tariffs subside.
Yeah, well, we're all hoping for that.
Yeah.
I think that even if the tariffs and all that stuff goes away or whatever, I think that they're gonna be like, well, we see no reason to go back to the $70 because everybody's already been comfortable buying everything for $90. So we're just gonna keep it there or raise it to $100.
When things like tariffs go away or when inflation gets better, companies don't go, oh, it's gone. They usually just stick with the prices. It rarely will, and that's what I hate the most because inflation's going up too, and then there's the tariffs. And like I said, even if everything costs half as much, it's likely that they still will keep the prices because they can get away with it. They realize when they can get away with it, and they do.
Yep. Yeah, if you wanna keep prices down, show them by using your wallet. Don't buy.
Yeah. I already said I'm not going to be buying any video games for the foreseeable future, especially Nintendo. I wanted to get the Switch 2 when it came out. I'll be perfectly honest, but I'm not. If the prices, especially this console price, isn't really that bad. The $450. It's the games that they're going to slam you with. So no, I'm not. I'll just play with what I have.
Yeah, and which sucks because again, Sarah and I, we're doing our streaming thing, so we kind of want to keep up with new games. And there's we're both big fans of From Software, so there's the Duskbloods coming out, right, which is a spiritual sequel to Bloodborne, essentially, right, and it's exclusive to the Switch or Switch 2, I should say, right? Damn. So it's like, son of a bitch, you know what I mean? And right? I'm personally a huge Kirby fan, right? I got my little sleepy Kirby boy right here. Look at that little sleepy Kirby, right? But I'm a huge Kirby fan, so of course I want to play the new Kirby game, but I am not paying $90. But the issue now, third-party games, Duskbloods might drop down to, $29.99 someday, right?
Yeah,
not a problem, right? Get it then. Nintendo games, never. No. Maybe 10% off. You get $5 off or some shit, But like very, very rarely do they ever. There are games that are now 20 years old that are still $60 for the Wii and shit. You know what I mean?
Worse, if you try to buy those on eBay now, the people price gouging them is insane. Like I'm looking at GameCube games that are $100. I'm like, are you guys? They're the same people that would complain about Nintendo's games being too high, and yet they're charging $100 for ones they're selling on eBay.
Nintendo could totally fix this if they made shit backwards compatible.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I would love if they. Well, I mean, the 2 is going to be backwards compatible, and like all those games are going to be on there and the virtual console, whatever. But yeah, they
Yeah,
should.
but only the
they,
ones that you bought on the Switch. Like, what about all? Like, I must have spent at least $300-400 on the Wii back in the day, buying every
Mhm.
classic Nintendo game, and then nothing. There was all wasted for nothing because it doesn't save to your Nintendo account, and then they launched their own thing, and it's like, well, you can't actually buy these games now. You have to sign up for Nintendo Plus or whatever just to play
Yeah.
them. And it's like, come on, I already bought these, that,
Yep.
well, it's that stupid narrative anyways that you don't actually own games you buy. Well, then why
Yeah.
am I paying buying prices?
Yep.
At this
I know.
point,
I
stop
agree
calling
with
it that I'm buying games. Then saying I'm renting games. Just say that right now. Don't sit there and go, it's $49.99 to buy. No, it's $49.99 to rent.
Yeah, they should. They should have had a. Yeah, that would have been cool if they had like a disc drive too, not just the thing. Because then you could get the Wii U, the GameCube.
Hell, even like an external one, right? One that you could just plug
Yeah.
into the Switch or something. I mean, or plug into the dock. That'd be
Yeah.
fine with me. For people who want to play their old games and shit like that. But no, the Nintendo is like, nope, just rebuy them at the higher price. And so of course,
Well, on the upside, that's also I don't get rid of my consoles. Usually, I have all of them, except for the ones that I lent to people. Some of those people didn't give those back, but uh, yeah,
yeah, I think that the
yeah,
only one that there's only two, is my Wii. I sold to a girl because her, we were really good friends, and she had two young kids, and they every time we hung out, like those kids loved video game thing, and she didn't have the money to buy them a console, so I was like, here, I'll tell you what, $100 and you can have my Wii and all my games for the Wii. And because I was like, I don't ever play this fucking thing anyways. I play my Xbox 360 and my PS3 and whatever. So and before that, it was my original Xbox. I gave that to my cousin.
well, you could have got it back from them.
Well, no, the 360 played the Xbox games.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
so I just kept the games that I wanted to keep and gave him all the other ones, and just could play on the 360. So it didn't matter. That's what I'm talking about. It was backwards compatible too. It's like
yeah,
Microsoft, as much shit as they get, they did it right when it came to that.
yeah. Oh, I agree with that. You can
Every
pretty much
console
play
has
every
always been backwards compatible.
backwards compatible, and it should be. Well, yeah, I guess the PS5 botched that too. You can play 4, but you can't play 3, 2, or 1.
No, because they want you to sign up for their stupid PlayStation Plus whatever pass thing, And I'm like, Xbox has Game Pass, but they still allow you to go backwards compatible if you already own the game. So that's just an excuse from Sony.
Yep.
But whatever.
Yes. That was our rant.
Yes. The next games, I already bought The Last of Us 2. I bought it for Sarah, so that she's going to be streaming that, and then I'll be with her on the stream talking reviews and whatnot. But other than that, I have no idea. We're going to be playing Repo. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's like a 4 to 8 player co-op game on Steam. You basically are these little I don't know, pill-shaped dudes who have to go collect valuable junk while monsters chase you. It looks hilarious though. And of course we're finishing Split Fiction. We're probably going to be doing that tomorrow. Give or take if we actually get through it all the way, but we'll see. And then we want to do she's never played Gears of War. So we're going to be doing Gears of War co-op, the Ultimate Edition, and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that means I guess you guys are going to kind of focus on throwbacks.
Well, we're jumping back and forth, doing a lot of anything that's co-op, right? Because we want to play together, The one I'm looking forward to the most this year, and it's going to be coming up in another one of our monthly live streams, but is the Little Nightmares 3.
Oh, okay.
It's the first one that's co-op, so I'm looking forward to that. Well, yeah, make sure you guys head over to twitch.tv/ragingantibody or twitch.tv/CJ94, SEAJ94, to check us out every Thursday and Sunday, where we'll be streaming whatever. As far as here goes, you're already here, so make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join for any kind of exclusive videos and stuff. We do members only content, so make sure you hit that join button. We've got 2 tiers. One is $1.99 and the other one I think is $4.99. The $1.99 tier allows you access to all the movies and gets you a shout out at the end of our videos. And then the $4.99 tier will eventually get you guys into a raffle where you guys can win monthly prizes. It'll either be like a Blu-ray movie or something similar, collector's item or something. We'll see. But we won't be doing the drawings until we hit our goal of 50 members. So 50. 50 members. 50. But yeah, otherwise, you can follow me personally on Instagram, Raging Antibody. You can also tweet at me, also just Raging Antibody. Steve, what are your socials?
My Instagram actually is Steven Eifler, I believe. I didn't put anything special for that one. So yeah. It's just Steven Eifler, and that's STEPHEN and EIFFLER. One word.
There you go.
Yep.
Any other socials?
No.
I
mean, yeah.
Well, you can also.
Wait, never mind. I'm on Threads. I think it's the same thing though, because that's connected to Instagram.
That's true. But you can also tweet us at the channel as a whole at Studios Fat. Yeah. And normally you could follow Jamie. Also is Jamie Beach on Instagram, and that's all I know. I don't think she has a Twitter. And we also have a Reddit. Make sure you check out our Reddit. It's also Fat Ninja Studios. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. We hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Again, the Minecraft movie, I rated it around 6 out of 10, but it's worth taking the family. If you want to see it, just see it during the day where the ticket prices are a little bit cheaper, we'll be streaming again tomorrow on Twitch, so make sure you tune in. Any past live streams you missed are of course uploaded every Sunday, so check those out. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a month.
Yeah.
Peace.